So on our screen we have the pictures of Vidit Gujarati from round 12 of the Tata Steel Masters Chess Tournament, where he seemed depressed and sad in between his game against Sharyakar Mamadov. Well, what caused him to be depressed and sad was a devastating pawn fork which he missed. And today that's what we're gonna explore in this video. We're gonna explore the game, and we're gonna also look as to how could Vidit miss that pawn fork and everything else. So let's move straight on to the board. So Vidit is with the white pieces in round 12, and he opens the game with 1 e4. We have e5 from black, and after knight to f3, knight c6 and bishop c4 from Vidit. Vidit usually is playing the Italian, so he is well prepared with the opening theory in the Italian defense. Now after this, black has a bit of options with knight f6, and then he can even play the move d6, and then even knight e7, even bishop to e7, and other moves. Mamedov played the move bishop to c5, and after c3 here, the idea is to go d4 some point in the future. But instead of c3, you can even castle and even play d3. So these are some of the moves which white has here. Knight f6 was played, and now d3, giving support to the pawn on e4 because there is no knight to come to c3. d6 was played, and white simply castled. Now for those wondering that why did Vidit allow the move bishop to g4, is because bishop to g4 would not prove out to be too worthy here. Okay, so if I ask you what is the reason you play the move bishop to g4, well, most of you will say that we need to pin this knight, and then sometime or the other this knight will come here and attack this. But the problem here is this knight has no way to come on d4 because the pawn on c3 is gonna stay there for a long time, and this knight is definitely not gonna be able to come to d4. Therefore, bishop g4 is not a very good square for the bishop, and now white's bishop to g5 can be a bit harassing because the d5 square is a hole in the future for white pieces. Therefore, after castles, black decided to stop white's bishop to g5 and play the move h6. We have rook e1 and castles. Now knight b to d2 is played with the idea of later rerouting the knight from f1 back to g3 if you have such an attacking game out there. Okay, so bishop to b6 is played with the idea of after knight b3 you can defend out here. h3, and now knight back to e7. Well, knight back to e7 is a very common move in the Italian. You often get to see such moves because if white decides to read out his knight from f1 to g3, then black also has to do something and for defense, and what he can do is he can bring his knight to g6 to organize defense. After the knight back to e7, we have to move d4, striking in the center. Now, Sharyakar played the move knight back to c6. Now, everybody might be wondering that why? Like, if he wanted to bring knight on c6, why did he play knight e7? Well, the reason is very simple. If white would have played something like a4 in this position, a4, then we had the move c6 from black. But since white has opted for a strike in the center, you need to defend this, and therefore you play the move knight back c6. Now, obviously, this does lose a tempi, but you had no other option. Now, he played the move a4, and after cd, he played d5. Here, black also struck back in the center. And now after ed4, ed5, you have knight to d5. However, they did play the move b3, but before we go into this move, I'd like to show you what the computer says in this position. Now, a5, according to the computer, can be an interesting option here, because if black decides to take with the knight, you have bishop to d5, queen d5, and a rook to e5. So this could be proving very good for white, and white could get a near to winning position from such a pawn grabbing site. So after b3, so we did play the move b3 here with the main idea of yanking this bishop from the b2 square. He played bishop to e6, and now knight to e4. You can see the activity of the white pieces. Now once again here Vidit is offering a pawn here, and if you decide to take it with, let's say, something like, okay, so in this position if you decide to take the pawn here with, let's say, something like knight d4, but then white is not gonna play knight d4. Instead, what we will do is we're gonna play the move bishop to a3, and damn it, this rook is gone. Yes, if you play this move, it's pretty simple here, and a5 winning this bishop. Okay, other than that, after bishop a3, there's not much you can do. So knight captures on d4 does not prove to be too good for the black pieces. Therefore, he played the move bishop e6, solidifying his support in the center, and we have a good move knight e4, giving extending support to the pawn on d4. Rook e8 was played, and we have bishop b2 with the main idea of playing the move b3. Knight a5, and now he played the move knight to e5 and is ready to sacrifice the bishop pair for the cost of activity. He doesn't take it at the moment and plays the move c6, queen f3, and after f6 here, oh, this move was not a very great one by Mammadov, and with it could have played the move knight to g4. Now the idea is after knight to g4, if black doesn't respond to your threat and play something like bishop c7, this is just to show you, obviously black is not going to play bishop c7, but then you have the move knight e captures on f6, and if he takes here, knight captures, then bishop captures d5, after bishop captures d5, if knight captures f6, after king h8, rook to e8 is simply losing for black. Therefore knight to g4 could have been a move, but the best move here for black is pawn to f5, but still knight ef6 wins. Not wins, but actually it gives white a near to winning advantage with gf6, and now we have the move knight h6 here. As let's something like king g7, you can play rook e6, and now knight f5, king f7, and queen to h5 is the move here. Okay, so we are diving too deep into this, so let's get back to the game with after f6. Okay, so after f6, I'm very tired. Such a long line I spoke without any reason, but okay. Now knight to g4 have been the move, but white played the move knight back to g3. Now bishop to f7 was played because this bishop was really weak on the e6 square, with the white eyeing up here. Rook e2 doubling up on the e file, and now he played the move rook a e1, b6, and now bishop c1 back, because after this pawn takes here, this is gonna be a potential weakness here. He played rook e6, defending f6, and after bishop d2, knight c4, pawn c4, and he moved back here. Now this pawn is hanging, but it didn't care for it and played the move bishop captures on h6. Now definitely black is not gonna take here because of the pawn on f6, but black regained the pawn here with queen captures on d4. And here is the moment of truth where Vidit blundered. Now if I ask you that is queen g4 a great move? What many of you will say that yes it is, because it's fair and checkmate, and then black has to play something like g6 or even knight g6. He can't play f5 because it's gonna be checkmated here. But guys, wait. Queen g4 is not a really great move, and that's what Vidit played in the game. Yes, he played the move queen to g4, and this was a humongous blunder by Vidit. Everyone in the commentary room, every single commentator was shocked at this move queen g4, and what he missed was not f5. He simply saw that f5 was coming, but what he missed was that this queen diagonally defends the pawn on g7, and there's no way for you to checkmate on g7. The pawn, the knight, and the queen is forked, and that's the reason behind such reactions from Vidit in this position. You can see he's very depressed after he saw that after f5 there is no way for him to save the game. Well, very depressed with it. Now could have resigned the game, but he tried for a few moves with g7, queen g7, and the game is simply over. Now just formalities left in the game. Okay, so we had a few moves here. Let me take you real quick to the game. So we had a few moves here. Black played this move, and the game ended with king f8, and now the game ended with the brilliant move from Mammadov, knight to e3. Okay, so let me just on the engine and show you that this move is a brilliant play from Mammadov, because after pawn captures on e3, we have bishop d3. Okay, so this is lost simply here. So that was the reason Vidit didn't want to face all this, and therefore he resigned this game on move number 38 with the last move knight to e3 check. So guys, we figured out why we got such depressed reactions from Vidit, and why this game is becoming popular on the internet only because of the move queen to g4. So guys, I hope you enjoyed this video and all the analysis in this video. If you want any more games to be covered, you can simply drop them in the comment box below. Until then, meet you in the next video. Thank you for watching and bye for now.